All right, salute BlakGooseTV family. What's good with it? Hopefully, you guys are enjoying your Wednesday. I have some more Jermell Charlo news for the people. Look, if y'all don't know, y'all should know. And if y'all don't know, I'm going to go ahead and educate y'all. I'm a big Jermell Charlo fan. Jermell Charlo is up there when it comes to the must see fighters, at least in my opinion, that I'm going to make sure I sit my ass down and actually watch when a fight comes up and is announced. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal opinion. So I got nothing but respect for Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? I did drop a video yesterday, which that's one thing when it comes, and that's what I'm going to get into. When it comes to Jermell Charlo, I have to give him nothing but respect and give him his just due because I don't know if it's purposely he does this. I don't know if it's just him naturally doing it because that's just the type of personality he is, which I can actually see both kind of being the case. Where in the beginning that was his personality, and now that he's older, has more money, has the right team around him, they're finding a way to blend both sides, right? Either way, when he doesn't have a fight coming up, he never gets in any trouble. You know what I'm saying? We don't hear about him. He's just ghost. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for a young, talented fighter like a Jermell Charlo, where if you don't have anything going on in regards to your profession, no one is talking about you. That's a good thing, especially as a black athlete, okay? Because a lot of times if, something goes on and they're talking about it and you don't have a fight scheduled, it's not a good, it's usually a negative story that's coinciding with whatever the situation is. So, I got to give Jermell Charlo props when it comes to that. But I also give him props for when that fight is announced, he ramps that thing up. Like this man right here, he ramps it up. And like I said, I don't know if it's purposely, if this is just his personality. Like, it's a little bit of mixture of both if I were to, guess. But, he makes sure like when that fight date is announced, Jermell Charlo was all over the boxing news. And that's not because people are just constantly covering him, but it's because he makes sure he gives people some information or he gives people some content that we can, talk to the people about that's a little bit controversial. Yesterday, I talked about, his response to Terrence Crawford, which was pretty controversial. But it gets people talking about Jermell Charlo and getting more excited for this Brian Castano fight. And now he's focusing his attention on Castano as, the fight date nears, and he's saying some more controversial, things. Nothing he hasn't necessarily echoed in the past, obviously, because we already had a actual fight date for Castano versus Charlo 2. But obviously, as we near toward it, it got canceled and pushed back because of a bicep injury for Castano. And that's what we're going to be talking about because Jermell Charlo was already voiced earlier or previously that he didn't believe it. He also, slightly threw out some PED accusations, right? And I have another video coming, in regards to that. But, what I really want to say too and give kudos to Charlo is that he knows how to promote a fight and he knows how to make sure everybody's watching. And then I also want to say this too is, regardless of what you want to say about him, regardless if people feel like, he's making excuses and he doesn't want to fight Castano again, or he understands he's going to have a trouble, or maybe people think he lost the first fight, whatever the case may be. One, he took this goddamn rematch, right? Two, this isn't new to him, right? It's not like this is the first time he's been in this type of position before. He's been in this position before. You got to give nothing but respect to this man for what he's done, because what am I talking about? Obviously, the Tony Harrison 2 fights, right? The first fight with Tony Harrison got the W, but a lot of people felt like Jermell Charlo won, right? I was one of the few. When the fight after Matt Korobov versus Jermell Charlo, I felt like he lost that fight and they gave it to him. That's a whole nother story. That's something we can get into later. But with that being the case, right? Jermell Charlo, he took that L. He didn't say anything. He got in the gym. He got that work right. And then when he fought Tony Harrison again, this is me being a major Tony Harrison fan, TKO'd him later in the rounds, and people can go the route where they're talking about what if and this and that, and Tony Harrison was winning the whole. I could do that. I did that for a long time. I had to get over that loss for Tony Harrison. But you can say, oh, Tony was winning and he just started goofing around and this is what happened, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, Jermell Charlo, he did what he was supposed to do. He didn't get frustrated and he got the W. So he's been in this situation before where he lost a fight, or, in this particular case, he got a draw, but a lot of people feel like he lost it and he had to make adjustments, come back and do better, right? He's been in that position. Not only was he in that position, but after beating Tony Harrison, he fights a guy in Hezyan Rosario where everyone has immense respect for, right? Everyone has immense respect for what Hasan Rosario is doing, strictly because, it's kind of based around the what I want to say. It's based around the win that he had against Julian Williams, because no one really expected that against Julian Williams. And even then, okay, we can all kind of question how good Hasan Rosario is, because he did get that L to Lubin. But at the same time, Lubin is showing to be, absolutely a force when it comes to the 154 division. Anyways, after, having that hardship with Tony Harrison, coming back winning, then he goes, beats Hasan Rosario with a fucking jab to the body, becomes undisputed. Like, dude's mental fortitude is off the chart. So there's nothing. I'm not going against that. I'm giving him kudos throughout this whole video. I got enough respect for Jermell Charlo, right? But like I said, me tying everything together, putting everything, circling everything around so everything makes sense. He knows how to make sure we're talking about him when it comes closer to his fight. And in this instance, he has spoke on this before. He has touched on this before. He has alluded to this particular topic we're going to be talking about, but at the same time, not to this extent. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. I want to get into this article, man. This is by BoxingScene.com. So if you're still with me this far, let's go ahead and go through this. Let's read through. I haven't read this yet, so I'm interested to see what he has to say. Charlo rips Castano, not convinced biceps injury is legitimate based on training videos. Check this out. Jermell Charlo was aware that his intense skepticism of Brian Castano's recent bicep injury makes him sound like he's, some Zapruder film debunker, right? Or you could say a conspiracy theorist, right? Something along that. But let's go straight to what he had to say about the particular instance. He says he's doing videos showing himself training. Charlo told Brian Custer on the Last Stand podcast. Unfortunately, those people don't even know how to keep their nose clean. These are videos of Brian Castano working out, but if your right bicep is injured, he's working out, doing all this training. That's the one that exposes you, your own people. Brian Castano's injury doesn't need surgery. Okay, so now it's about a healing process, Charlo continued, but he's still working out and he's running. That right arm that he supposedly didn't use to train, he's swinging it. I hate to be the guy to pull up these, but I got to state all the facts. Castano is using his left arm, only the left arm, throwing hooks, but the right arm he's not using. He's keeping it stable. I know that if you have a slightly torn bicep, you would have it taped up, wrapped up, but they don't got no taping, Brian. No point in taping it now after I already recognized it, but I'm happy. I don't worry. Obviously, he's visibly frustrated. He continues and says, Brian Castano, it's not to me the injury, personally. I think it's because he's overweight. He can't make the weight. It's going to be hard to make this weight. He's going to drain himself, and you all of a sudden come out of nowhere with the right bicep injury. But when you're running your stride, you're using your arm. Slow the video down. That's the same bicep that you hurt. So apparently, Charlo is referring to a video that Castano's trainer must have posted of him, getting in shape, running, and training during the time that apparently he was made aware of the particular bicep injury. And so for Charlo, he's saying if you got a torn bicep or if you got a injury in your bicep enough to make you postpone the fight where you can't fight, ain't no way in hell you're going to be doing anything that contains any type of movement or any type of functionality where you have to use that right bicep. He continues and ends basically the interview saying, if they're using a bicep injury, I'll give you a real bicep injury. That's what you want. Come get your injury. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. So we know Charlo, man. Charlo ain't going to slight his words. He not going to, be nice with them things. He's not going to try and be nobody's friend. He's going to tell you what it is and how he feels and what he thinks, even if a lot of majority of people either feel like he's just delusional, he's crazy. Like in the video I was talking about last night and his response to Terrence Crawford, one of the comments, he said, I think he was inebriated. So Charlo is so, he's a very emotional person when it comes to his passion, right? I don't know how he is outside of his boxing, but when it comes to boxing, his passion, he says what he feels and he feels what he says. And this is not, like I said before, this is not the first time that Charlo has spoke about this Castano injury. And he feels like it wasn't actually a real injury. From what he's alluding to, he believes that he was really out of shape and he needed more time. So I want to present this to you, Black Goose TV family. Do you agree with Jermell Charlo? Do you think that ultimately there was no real bicep injury? Do you think that Castano and his team put out a fake story to give him more time to get in shape? Do you think maybe there was something else going on behind the scenes where Castano was more focused on that and he knew he couldn't get in shape in time? Because there is some rumors allegedly going on where I think it was either he had a daughter or a marriage or a wedding or something where he put his focus on that and he knew he wouldn't be ready for that fight date. But they also knew that PPC knew that was the case, but they still went ahead with the date. Whatever may be the case, I just want to know from y'all, Black Goose family, what do you feel about Charlo coming at Castano this way, saying there's no way his bicep can be injured, but I see you training. The proof is in the pudding, or the proof is in the training videos. Castano's team, actually, they have not came out during this entire time, or at least I've not seen an article or anything in that reference where they've, refuted the claims or they even responded back to Charlo. So sometimes, I can understand that aspect. If you feel like, the claims are so outlandish and stupid, why even bother to react to it or to say something about it? Because that can give legitimacy to it. But sometimes it can also be the opposite effect, where if you don't say something, another person keeps saying something, you start saying, well, why aren't you sticking up for yourself? But we'll see. But regardless, I want to know what y'all think about this, Black Goose family. What do you think about this right here? What do you think about Charlo feeling this way and continually to put out there that he feels like that bicep injury is not real, it's fake, and it's just for him to have a little bit more time to get in shape? I want to know your comments down below. Please comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the family. You already know what it is. I got a lot of content dropping for y'all tonight, so make sure y'all look out for that and keep supporting. I love the growth. I love the community. Just keep doing what we're doing. Nothing but love. And let me hear your thoughts on this, because God damn it, your opinion is important.